Hello guys. So today we are going to learn about the diode emulation term, which is a feature that is used in DC-DC converters. Okay. So this term diode emulation you will hear always along with the synchronous converters, not along with the asynchronous converters. So we will see what do you mean by diode emulation. So I have divided this part into three sub parts. So in first sub part we will see what do you mean by synchronous and asynchronous converters. So we will consider buck converter and we will see its operation in synchronous and asynchronous configuration. Okay, and in second sub part we will see what is forced continuous conduction mode or FCCM. It is also called as FPWM, which is forced PWM mode. And in third part we will see diode emulation feature that is used in DC-DC converters. So we will not be directly jumping to diode emulation feature, since to understand in it well manner you need to have a prior knowledge of first two terminologies, so first two parts actually. So that's why we will start with the first sub part, which is the synchronous and asynchronous converter. Hello guys. So today we are going to learn about the CCM mode operation of the synchronous and asynchronous buck converter. So I have shown you the typical circuitry for asynchronous and synchronous buck. So we will have a quick look at it. So here in asynchronous buck converter we have high side switch Q1, which is shown as a NMOS switch along with its body diode. Then we have catch diode D1, then output inductor LO, then output capacitor CO, then output load RO, and this is the output terminal VO, right? Then we have the input capacitor C in, then we have the input terminal, this input terminal, right? So this is the asynchronous buck converter. Now the difference between asynchronous buck and synchronous buck is this catch diode D1 is replaced by the low side switch. Here I have shown as Q2. This is shown as NMOS switch. So this is to improve the efficiency, because the MOSFET has low RDS on or low on state resistance when compared to the diode, and so it results into less conduction loss when compared to the diode. So here we have again high side switch Q1, then low side switch Q2, output inductor LO, output capacitor CO, output load RO. This is the output terminal. Then we have input capacitor, then this is the input terminal, right? So we will consider first of all the operation of the asynchronous buck converter in CCM mode. So we know the continuous conduction mode, which is the CCM. It means that the output inductor current, which is LO, it never reaches to zero, right? So I have shown it the output inductor current. So you can see here it is always positive. So this is a time axis. It never goes below the zero value. That is why it is always positive, right? So during time T on, so switch Q1 is turned on. Because Q1 is turned on, so this terminal of the inductor, or this terminal, it is at Vin, right? It is almost at Vin if we assume zero voltage drop across the Q1, right? So if we consider here net voltage across the inductor during time T on, so we have here at Vin voltage, and here we have VO voltage, right? And we know Vin is always higher than VO, so we have Vin minus VO. This is the net voltage which appears across the inductor during time T on, right? So we can see here inductor current is ramping up, which is flowing through Q1. So here you can see current is ramping up and it is flowing through Q1. So this is the Q1 current, and this is ramping up from, let's say, IM value to IP value, right? So we can see here current direction from C in, then Q1, then LO, then output load, then back to ground. So this is the current direction during time T on, and we can calculate the slope of this inductor current by the basic inductor equation. So we know that so this is the voltage appearing across the inductor during time T on. So we know V is equal to, or V by L is equal to di by dt. So this is the basic inductor equation. So we have here V in minus VO, which is the net voltage across inductor. So V in by LO is equal to dIL by dt. So this is the slope equation for time duration. When t on ends, so switch Q1 is turned off. Now we can see here at the end of t on, inductor current is reached at Ip, right? So there is an inductive energy stored which is equal to half LIP square, right? So when Q1 is turned off, so because of this inductive property, what inductor does, it will try to maintain the same current direction. So to satisfy this requirement because of the inductive property, so what inductor does, so this terminal of the inductor starts going negative, right? So this terminal cannot change because it is regulated at VO by the feedback loop. So this cannot change. So this starts going negative. So we have here diode D1, which is the anode of the diode is grounded and the cathode is connected to the other terminal of the inductor, right? So as soon as it starts going negative, so we have here 0 volt and it starts going negative. So diode D1 is forward biased. So inductor the stored energy in the inductor, which is half LIP square, so it freewheels through output load, then through diode D1 like this. So you can compare here the current direction during time t on and current direction during time t off. So it is same, right? So now we can current is flowing through the D1. So I have shown here. So current is falling from Ip value, then it reaches to Im value, right? So the time when it reaches to Im value, the next PWM cycle begins and again Q1 is turned on. Again the Vin minus Vo is appearing across the inductor and inductor current again ramps up. So again next PWM cycle begins, right? So during time t off, so if we consider the voltage across the inductor, so this the diode D1 is forward biased as I explained to you earlier. So this terminal is almost at minus 0.7 volt because this is a typical voltage drop of the silicon diode, right? And the other terminal of the inductor, it is at VO, right? So we have VO voltage appearing across the inductor. We can calculate the slope of this inductor current by the same equation, but we have here VO by L is equal to DIL by dt, and we will use it here is minus sign because if we see here the inductor current, it has a negative slope, right? So I can explain you in other way. So during time t on, Vin was appearing here and VO was at other terminal of the inductor. So Vin has higher value since this is buck, VO is less. So this terminal of the inductor was more positive, right, compared to other terminal. Now during time t off, what happens? So this terminal is almost grounded and this terminal has higher potential. So reverse the polarity across the inductor, the voltage polarity across the inductor, it is reverse. That is the volt second law of the inductor actually, which is very useful in the DC-DC converters. So this is basically a operation of the asynchronous buck converter in CCM mode. So we will also quickly discuss the operation of the synchronous buck converter in CCM mode. So as I explained to you earlier, so diode D1 is replaced with the low side switch. So during time t on, the switch Q1 is on, Q2 is off. So current is flowing from V in, then from C in capacitor, then Q1 high side switch, then output inductor, then output load, then back to the ground. So this is the current direction during time t on, right? So now at time t on, so this is during time t on, this is the valid equation for this synchronous buck configuration also, because here we can see since Q1 is turned on, Vin is appearing across this terminal and VO is at this terminal of the inductor, right? So Vin minus VO upon LO is equal to DIL by dt. So this is the slope equation for the inductor in during time t on for the synchronous buck configuration also. Now what happens as soon as t on ends here, so current has reached to the peak value, which is Ip. Then again there is an inductive energy stored in the inductor, right? So inductor has to freewheel this energy. So what happens? So when Q1 turns off at time t on, Q2 is turned on after some time delay, which is called as a dead time, and inductor energy freewheels like this in this direction. So this is the direction of the freewheeling energy. Now see, we can see here, since Q2 is turned on during time t off, so here this terminal is grounded, which is 0 volt, and since RDS on is less, so here we can see this terminal goes around minus 0.2 volt, roughly around minus 0.2 volt. So here we can see the difference between asynchronous and synchronous buck converter, because here we have minus 0.7 and here we have minus 0.2 volt. So if we compare the power loss in diode, so this freewheeling current, it is multiplied by this 0.7 volt, and here freewheeling current is multiplied by the 0.2 volt. That's why conduction losses in MOSFET is less compared to the diode. So that's why the synchronous buck converter is used in the high power applications for the better efficiency. So here you can see during time t on, current through Q1, it is rising. So during time t off, it is 0 because Q2 is turned on, and inductor energy freewheels through the Q2, and we have here the falling slope. And during time t off, so since this is almost grounded, and here we have the VO, so same equation applies during time t off also. So minus VO by L is equal to DIL by dt. So this is again the slope equation for the inductor current during time t off. Okay, so this is all about the CCM mode operation of the asynchronous and synchronous buck converter. So in next video we will see how these two configurations operate in DCM mode, and what is the forced continuous conduction mode, which is also called as FCCM or FPWM, forced PWM mode. And then again in third part we will see what is diode emulation. So if you have any queries regarding this, you can comment it, and you can subscribe to my channel for more learning videos. And thank you for your time.